Hi, welcome to my channel. This video is about pocket watches, and the pocket watch we're featuring today is the BUNN Special made by the Illinois Watch Company. In this video I'm going to show how to set the time, how to remove the covers, and also we'll talk about the jewels and some other components of this watch. So let's get going. Hi, welcome to my video. Today we're going to be talking about a special pocket watch. It was made by the Illinois Watch Company and it's called the BUNN Special. It's a size 16 pocket watch. It was made in 1927 and it's a model 14, and there was 1,000 of them made in that run of that year. It has 21 jewels. It was named after John W. Bunn, who was one of the founders of the Illinois Watch Company. The BUNN Special was probably one of the most well-known pocket watches. It was high quality made, and it was also a railroad grade watch. That being said, the BUNN Special was also a railroad approved pocket watch, and there was a difference between a railroad grade pocket watch and a railroad approved pocket watch, and I'll talk about that later in some other videos. Here we're comparing the differences in the sizes of these two pocket watches. One is a size 18 pocket watch, the one on the left, and on the right is a size 16. You can see how big the 18 is compared to the size 16. When they came out with the size 16, that was very popular because of the big bulky size of the size 18. So the size 18 pocket watch was phased out for the size 16 pocket watch, which was so much popular. Let's talk about how you would set the time on this pocket watch. This pocket watch is called a lever set pocket watch. What you would do was unscrew the bezel, unscrewing it counterclockwise. The bezel is the ring with the glass, which is called a crystal, and you'd remove that carefully. Then you would take your fingernail and grasp that little lever and pull it out. Let's take a look at how that lever works. With the lever pushed in, as you turn the crown or the stem of the watch, you see that big wheel spinning. Well, that big wheel turning is actually winding the watch. You're winding the mainspring, and the hour hand doesn't move. But once you pull that lever out, it disengages the gears from the winder, and it starts engaging a smaller gear that turns the hands. So you're not winding the watch anymore. You're actually turning the hands of the watch and setting your time. The reason the railroad watches had this feature was it was a safety feature, because if you had the regular kind of watch that just used the stem or the crown to set the time, you could accidentally pull that out while you were winding your watch and not knowing, or while it was in your pocket, and change the time. And that wouldn't be a good thing on a train, because all the trains had to run on time. And if your train was off time, you could have a very bad accident. So that's how you set the time on your watch. You just spin that crown around, and once you have your time set, you push in on your lever. Make sure it's pushed all the way in, and when you're confident that it is pushed all the way in, take your bezel, place it back over your watch, and start threading it on there, but do it carefully. Now we're going to take the back of the watch off. We're going to do it the same way we did the front of the watch. You just turn the cover counterclockwise. Keep turning till it comes loose. Now that we have our cover off, let's take a look at some of the information that is engraved in the back of this movement. One thing it shows is where the watch was made and the name of the watch, BUNN Special. Another thing up above it says 60 hour. What that means is when you wind this watch up, it will run for 60 hours. Next we see where it says adjusted temperature and 6 positions. What the temperature part tells us is that the balance wheel was made of 2 different metals, steel and brass, and when the temperature changed, the balance wheel could expand or contract and the watch would still keep good time. I'll go into that in more detail in other videos. The adjusted to 6 positions meant that when this watch was made, it was made where if it was laid on its back, on its face, on either sides in 6 different positions, it would still keep good time. Both of these were requirements of railroad grade watches. And next we have these markings. One says motor barrel, the other one says 21 joules. First we're going to talk about the motor barrel and what that is. Now this part of the watch is called the barrel, and this is where your mainspring is kept. Just think of the barrel and the mainspring as the engine or motor of the watch, like the motor in a car. Without the engine in the car would not run. Well, that's the same way with the watch. When the mainspring is wound up and it starts releasing the tension, it causes the barrel to spin, and as the barrel turns, it makes the watch movement move. So let's open up the barrel and take a look at the mainspring. To open it, I just put it on a steel block, and push down on it, and the cover pops right open. Works about every time. So now we take the cover off, and it exposes the mainspring. And the mainspring is wound around an arbor in the center. So now we know what the mainspring looks like, and now you know what a watch barrel is. But that still doesn't answer the question, what is a motor barrel? Well, as you look at that big wheel that's turning as I wind the watch, you see the 3 screws that they're holding down a cover plate, and underneath that cover plate are jewels that reduce the friction as the wheel spins on the center arbor of the mainspring barrel. And we'll talk about jewels here in a few minutes. So most watches didn't have these jewels added to the mainspring barrel. They just had metal to metal, and you just kept them oiled. So this was something that was added to high-grade watches, and so they named it motor barrel so that you would know that your watch had jewels on the mainspring barrel. Now let's talk about the jewels. This watch says it has 21 jewels. Let's talk about the jewels and the purpose of the jewels. The jewels are used as a bearing for the shaft of the wheel as it comes through the movement. The jewels were made either of ruby, sapphire, or garnet. This watch uses ruby jewels. Here's one of the little wheels or gears that was inside the watch, and on each end is called a pivot. And the pivots are highly polished and hardened. And here's a jewel I had taken out of a watch I was working on. The jewel itself was damaged, but it has a hole in the center of it for the shaft of the little gear to go through and spin around on it. So this makes the watch more efficient by reducing friction between the two parts. So as we wrap this up, we replace our back cover. You do that the same way you did your front cover, it just screws on. So I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you liked it, please hit the like button, and if you would, subscribe to my channel. I hope to be making some more pocket watch videos. And thanks for watching.